50 or so different countries there represented. I'm going to Doha this week, partly for another role I do, but also to drop into Qatar racing. And at the end of the month I'll be in Hong Kong, again to do something else that connected to what I'm doing, but I'm going to visit Happy Valley and Shelton race courses as well. So part of my job is helping to run and make sure that things go smoothly at the BHA here in the UK. And part of it is also outward looking to international federations and things. I don't come from racing at all. When I was about 10 and 11, I used to muck out stables and occasionally go for a ride on ponies. I spent most of the time falling off them, which is a bit off-putting, and I've occasionally been riding over the rest of the course. But I spent most of my sporting career in a boat, so I was a rower. I used to row for Great Britain in the 1990s, a long time ago, and won the World Championships once and won some World Championship medals, and I went to the Atlanta Olympic Games in the women's 8 in 1996, so last millennium. But I was quite a good rower. I was a lightweight rower, so I can empathise with Ollie's issues around weight and the jockeys and having to get down to weight. I also used to race on those indoor rowing machines you see sometimes in gyms, Concept 2s. So I held the world record on those for a while. Wow. And my worst one was I was at training camp in Hong Kong and I had to fly to Boston to race on one of those, and I thought I was almost down at weight when I got on the plane, and it took, because of bad weather in the States, it took us 36 hours to get from Hong Kong, and when I arrived in Boston, it was -20. I'd come from +30 degrees centigrade in Hong Kong to -20 in Boston, and I was 5 kilos overweight, and I had to sweat down without a sauna in that weather. So anyway, that was my sporting background. It's quite difficult. You wear all the clothes you've got. There's a book I used to read my children called The Man Who Wore All His Clothes. I don't know if any of you ever read that book. Anyway, that was me. So I spent most of my life in a different sport. I then worked in various different roles. I'm also an art dealer in my other life, but I spent a lot of time doing sports administration, sometimes voluntary and sometimes paid, working particularly with safeguarding and looking after welfare and safeguarding of young people in sport. And I eventually became chairman of my sport, of the national governing body of rowing, called British Rowing. Worked with British Cycling when they had some problems with welfare in coming up to the Rio Games. And I'm currently also vice chairman of the British Olympic Association. So I went out to Pyeongchang for the Winter Olympic Games. I will be going out to Tokyo for that, and I do some work with both Paralympic sport and Olympic sport. So I have a really wide sporting sort of experience, and because of that, when the BHA were looking for a new chairman, they wanted somebody from outside of horse racing who knew a little bit about sport and sport governance, but who would bring a sort of different perspective. So I chair the board, and I line manage the chief executive, and I do the other bits and pieces of outside things, and I have lovely days out, like coming to places like this.